Relocating is expensive. Some experts say you need to have at least 6 months of money saved up before you even get to your new city. What if you could set up your life without even going there? Damn! What if I told you could save $2,000 to $3,000 on your relocation expenses by not going to set up your life in advance, but using Google? Yes, that's right, the internet. You can set up your life on the internet before you even relocate to your new city. I did it, and I'm going to show you how. Well, I'm going to tell you and show you. Let's just get into it. Okay, so this is a little bit how-to, a little bit story time, a little show, a little tell. When I was in high school, I decided that I was going to move to Los Angeles to pursue my career in acting. I knew I didn't want to go to college like my other homegirls were doing, so I saved up my money, I set up my life on the internet, and I moved to Los Angeles without ever going there first. There are 3 really good reasons a person would do something like this, and I know what you're thinking. Crazy, crazy, and crazy. Yes, 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 and yes, but also smart. Going to a city to set up your life, like just to set it up, like just to find your apartment, to find your job, all that good stuff, you could spend upwards of maybe $3,000 to $4,000. Just because you take out a week or 2 of your life to go look for an apartment doesn't mean that you'll actually even find one in that time. So you could have wasted that money and gotten no results. The second reason is your motivation for going. My motivation for moving to Los Angeles was so strong. Setting up my career, pursuing acting on a professional level was a very strong motivation for me wanting to go there. Also, it's LA, palm trees, the beach, warm weather, hello, easy sell. The third reason, I knew that I would be up for the adventure. Being an artist is a huge risk. It's so many unknown things. Like, this is one of the only careers that you could dedicate your entire life to and never get anywhere. Like, that is so depressing. Oh my God! But it's so true. You could really just give it your all. You're not guaranteed results. Results not guaranteed. That's acting. So I knew that I was up for the adventure. I was up for the challenge. I'm comfortable with the unknown. I'm a Navy brat. I was used to moving around, so I knew I could do this. Now, setting up your life in a new city without ever going there, using only Google, takes a little bit of planning and some street smarts. So the first thing you want to do is find an apartment, right? You need a place to live. You want to start by Googling the worst neighborhoods in the city that you're moving to. So for me, it was worst neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Once I found out what the worst neighborhoods were, then I started looking at all of the neighborhoods that weren't on that list. So then I did an apartment search. So I Googled apartment search. Once I found some neighborhoods that weren't scary, that were in my budget, I started targeting those areas for apartment searches. Today, there are crazy amounts of apartment buildings that have virtual tours available. Back when I was doing this, virtual tours wasn't even really that poppin', but now it's poppin'. It's poppin'? It's popping. It's everywhere. I took it back with the little mama, yeah. So you can use a virtual tour to do like a 360-degree view of an apartment, which is amazing. Being able to see a 360-degree view of an apartment is awesome. However, certain things really require in-person contact, like checking the water pressure, or listening out for noisy neighbors inside or outside of the apartment building. Make sure you ask lots of questions. Look on Google Maps and see what is surrounding these apartment buildings that you're thinking of renting. Now, Google Maps sometimes can be a bit outdated, but it's better than nothing. If you're moving to a big city like Los Angeles and New York, credit scores are so important. They're imperative. They're a part of the application process, along with giving blood, promising your firstborn child. I'm kidding, but definitely I'm not kidding about the credit score. There are some landlords that will not rent to you unless your score is 650 or higher. So if you were like me, I was 18 years old when I rented my first apartment. I had no credit history. I came from my parents' house and my parents were paying all of the bills. I had no credit history. I had to give an extra month of rent up front. So that was even more money that I had to save, which was another reason that I didn't want to go there to set up my life in advance and spend that money. I wanted to save that money and spend it on my life once I was actually there. You also want to do research on the leasing company or the private owner who's going to rent you the apartment. Go on Google and you want to Google search either the leasing company's name or the full name, first and last. We're on government status here, people. We need the full government name of every single person that you are going to be giving your money to. So if that's the leasing manager, you need their first and their last name. If it's a private owner, you need their first and their last name. And let me tell you why. A lot of times when people are unscrupulous and they do bad business, they get away from it, they run from it, they set up a whole new company name. They think they're being slick, but what they have to realize is even though they change their name, their employees' names stay the same. So unless the employees are changing their names too, there's no way to run from your dirty past, your unethical behavior. So if you do a Google search of the employee's name, then you can sometimes see what they don't want you to see about the company online. And that is really important, especially if you're going to be wiring money, which I always suggest. You never want to just like mail someone a check or a money order. You always want to send money electronically so it can be traced. Stop payments can be made. And you also want to do your research on these companies before you send them your money. All right, so once I found a place to live, then I had to figure out a way to get there. How was I going to get to Los Angeles? DIY moves is the most cost-effective way to move yourself or relocate to a new city. And you have two options. You're either gonna fly or you're gonna drive. Or you could walk, but that would be like crazy. So I didn't want to drive. A, because I didn't have a car that I could drive across state lines. I had a car, but it was really crappy. It would not have made the drive from Cincinnati to Los Angeles. Two, I didn't have enough furniture to warrant me renting a rental truck. And on top of that, my parents weren't going to take off work and leave my younger brothers and their jobs to drive me. They're like, Brandy, you need to figure that out on your own. And I did. I started with a Google search. I Googled cheapest flights to LA because if you're not driving, then you're flying. Or you could take the train, but I wasn't doing that. So I booked a flight. I got onto cheaptickets.com, which I think was really poppin' back then. If this is your first time watching one of my videos and you don't know how much I absolutely adore Greyhound Package Express, and they're not even paying me to say this, I just really like using their service. Greyhound Package Express is basically anything that fits in a box and goes underneath the bus, they will drive it to the city for you. They're already driving people and people's luggage, so why not put your furniture under that bus and have it driven to the new city? Greyhound Package Express is way more cost efficient than the cost of UPS, DHL, or FedEx. And there are less people handling your things, which means whatever you have in there won't get all busted up by the time it gets to you, which has happened to me when I ship my stuff via FedEx. Let me tell you why Greyhound Package Express is the shit. First of all, they don't have as many restrictions on height and weight as UPS, FedEx, or DHL. They will hold your boxes at their location in your new city until you're ready to pick it up. And to make sure that some random doesn't walk away with your stuff, you have to show a photo ID. All I have to say is thank God for my parents, because I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I was literally figuring everything out as I went along. But they told me that I needed to speak to my landlord about my utilities. And I didn't even know the word utilities, like what the hell that even meant. Because I wasn't paying bills. I was literally living at home. And I went from my parents' house to renting my own apartment at 18 years old. So I spoke with the leasing manager when I was setting up my whole application process, and I asked tons of questions. I asked them, was the utilities turned on already in the unit, or did I need to do it? And I also found out the name of the utilities company that I was going to be doing business with. So once I had that information, I just called the utilities company. Here's a pro tip for you. If you want to know on average how much your utility bill is going to be in a new apartment, you can always call the utility company, give them your address, and ask them what the average bill is for that unit. That is going to be super helpful to you when you're doing your budget, because if you are moving to this new apartment that you haven't seen yet, and you don't know that there's a gas stove, then you would know that you're going to be responsible for a gas bill as well, which is more expensive than when you're just paying electricity. So those are questions that you definitely need to have answered. So make a call to that utility company and find out how much your bill is going to be on average, and or if you're going to be responsible for paying gas as well. You know, my parents weren't super keen that I was going to be, did I just say super keen? My parents were not happy that I wasn't going to college after high school, but they were still willing to give me a lot of useful information to help me set up my life, and thank God for them. So shout out to mom and dad. One thing that they told me was, okay, Brandy, that's great that you've saved up enough money to live for 2 to 3 months when you get to your new city without a job, but it would be so much better if you already had a job. So I slept on it and I thought, okay, I guess you're right. Now, I did have a job in high school. I was working part-time after school, but I was making after-school money. After-school money isn't money that you can live off of and support yourself on. What I did was I told my boss that I was going to be moving to Los Angeles, and she said, oh, well, we have a store in LA. We have several stores in LA. So I was like, girl, hook me up. What I got to do? So she said, leave it to me. She made all the phone calls for me, transferred my job from the mall in Ohio to the Beverly Center in Los Angeles, and that was my job. Now, I didn't end up staying at that job super long after I moved to LA, but it was great that I already had a job set up, so I had a place to go, I had motivation, I had goals, so I didn't even have a chance to have a freak out that I had just relocated to a new city and I didn't even know anything or anyone, and that made my relocation process so much smoother. Here's another pro tip. When you're sending out your resume, when you're doing your job search, you want to put a local number as your contact. Now, I'm not saying change your number right away. I'm saying using Google, use their Google number service. It's 100% free, and it's a number that they'll give you. You can choose which area code, A, and B, it'll ring to the phone that you already have. And Google will announce the call to you, so you know it's gonna be a business call or a call from a potential employer, so you can put your professional phone voice on and be like, yes, hello, yes, I'm awesome. Hire me. That's not my professional phone voice, but you get what I'm saying. You can put that voice on and let them know, hey, I'm about my business. Hire me, give me that job. So that's a pro tip for searching for jobs. Why is that important? Because sometimes employers don't really like to take chances on people who they don't know actually live in the city. And if you have an out-of-state number, the first thing they're going to ask you is, oh, I see that you have an out-of-state number. And then you don't really know any better, and you tell them the truth, and you're like, yeah, I'm relocating. I plan to move on this date and that date. And they're like, okay. And then they bowl up your resume and they throw it in the trash. Maybe not. But why give yourself another hurdle to jump over? Why not just have a local number on your resume? They don't need to know your business, and it could make your job search that much better. Please go to my website, brandygoss.com. Under the free tab, you'll find an ebook called The Relocation Blueprint for Artists and Office Types. In there, I go way more in depth about job searching in your new city. Lots of useful information there, so check that out. If you've ever moved to a city without going there to set up your life in advance, then I would love to hear more about your journey. Please let me know in the comments. So if you have any questions about any of the information that I share with you guys today, please feel free to leave me a comment. I love comments, as long as they're positive. But you can also contact me on my website, brandygoss.com. Click the contact tab and you can send me a direct message and I will respond right away and answer any question that you have. I offer tools for new actors starting their career and tips for how to have a successful relocation to a big city. So if that is something that you're interested in and you found value from this video, then please hit the subscribe button with the notification bell so that you can be notified when I post more videos.